Hello, my name is Emily Tirado, and today I'm going to be presenting my Week 13 project. I'm just going to confirm this here. My name is Emily Tirado. Today is May 16th, 2024, and let's get into it. So today I'll be doing determination of gender, genes versus hormones. I have a lot to go over, so let's just get right into it. So first, let's start male versus female sex structures. There's three things in both males and females: the gonads, the internal genitalia, and the external genitalia. So first, the gonads, that's what produces gametes, our sex cells. That's what helps us determine the male versus female. And then we go into internal genitalia. There's differences between male and female. As we can see, the internal of the female here and the internal of the male here. Very different looking. I'm not going to get too in depth into it, but I just thought it was important to put these pictures here to show the differences of the two. And the external genitalia, here's the female, the male is here, which includes the testes and the penis here, and the parts of the penis. So let's move on here. So sex chromosomes. As we know, let's go back to basic biology, 46 chromosomes, 23 pairs. But let's break that down even more. There's one set of sex chromosomes, which are important in determining our sex. So in this sex chromosome, one from mom, one's from dad. So let's look even more into this. So XX is females. So you can get an X from your mom and you can get an X from your dad. But when it comes to Y, XY are males, you can only get that Y from your dad. So if you have the Y in that chromosome sequence, you are male. And if you have the X, both X's, you're female. But what happens when something doesn't go right? Because we know science, things do not always go as planned. So what happens if an X doesn't come through, there's no Y? Let's see. So here's some special cases. So I put some different combinations. We have Y with just Y being produced. So that would result in death. And this wasn't a really interesting one because why would it result in death while these other ones are actually able to live? So it would result in death because the X chromosome is bigger than the Y chromosome. So the Y can't survive on its own. It needs that X chromosome. So therefore, there would not be able to have a child produced without that X chromosome. Now we'll go to Klinefelter syndrome, and I actually put a picture of it right here. So as you can see, two X's were actually taken and one Y. So because of that Y, if you remember, it's a male. However, these two X's leave some characteristics, as you can see here in this picture. So as you can see, they say things such as a small penis being developed, female-like, quote-unquote, female-like hips, breast development, and a lot of these syndromes that I'm about to discuss, they come with a lot of developmental delays. So that's something important to keep in mind, that without these specific genetic sequence of XX or XY, that there are things that are going to be not quite right. So let's look at the X. So we can survive without the Y. There's no Y chromosome. But again, this develops in a lot of things that could be wrong. And I actually put a picture of that one here too. So as you can see, there's heart issues that come with it. And then different things like a low posterior hairline, a heart-shaped face. So it's hard. There's not normal development externally, the physical side, but also it affects the internal of all of these people. And a couple more syndrome, XYY syndrome. So there's two Ys, one X, and then the last one I put is triple X syndrome. And something with triple X syndrome that I thought was interesting was, even though there's three X's, a big thing that comes with triple X syndrome is loss of fertility. So I definitely thought that was super interesting, and there are many different cases of when it gets messed up like this. So let's get into early development. Male and females contain two ducts during development, the Wolffian duct and the Mullerian duct. And as one develops in each sex, the other degenerates. So the Wolffian duct is important in male development of testes, while the Mullerian duct is important in female development of ovaries. So once one of these ducts start to generate, the other one will degenerate. And that's very important to remember. So the SRY chromosome. What is this chromosome? It is the sex-determining region that determines sex. So the presence of SRY will help testes development, but if there's no SRY, ovaries will develop, no testes will develop. And I just put this little picture here. You can see where that region would be. So without that region, no region, ovaries are going to develop. So let's get into male embryonic development. and hormones. So this is the importance of the hormones. So now we know kind of what's going on with our chromosomes. What do hormones have to do with it? So 3 hormones are produced after the gonadal medulla is developed in testes. So we first have the Sertoli cell, androgens, and testosterone and DHT, which kind of get grouped together. So the Sertoli cells is what causes that duct to degenerate that we were just talking about. So when we go back here, so after the Wolffian duct develops, this hormone release is causing the duct to degenerate. And that's what causes the testes to form. And then we have androgens, testosterone, and DHT, which are 3 hormones which are super dominant in males. Not to say that females have none of it, because they do have some, but it's so dominant in males. So androgens are the steroid hormone, and testosterone develops internal development of the reproductive system for males, and DHT is the external. So what about females? So females, without this early development of DHT and testosterone, or that little amount, it allows the Wolffian duct to degenerate and the female external organs will develop. And once the Mullerian ducts are there, they're generated, they form the female internal organs. So remember, there is no SRY gene present. So what does that mean? Remember, that means ovaries are developed and we have a female produced. So that's why hormones and genes, they work together. So once the gene is decided, the hormones play such an important role in helping further that decision of, will this be a male or will this be a female? And these are my sources. I think that this is a very in-depth discussion that I tried to get into briefly, but definitely very important to understand how things are developed in early development and how hormones further along that development. Thank you.